So, Phil, tomorrow, if they made you president and CEO of the All-Star for the NHL, what would you do different? Because I got to tell you, as a lover of the game, I will not watch an All-Star game. It's just, I don't mind the competition. If there's nothing else on TV, it's either that or fishing.
My first thought would be to try to make it more competitive so that the players have something to play for. That would be,
motivate them.
I don't know whether that is like with what they do in baseball, of course, where the winners get home ice advantage in the Stanley Cup final, no matter what.
I think
what's stopping them from doing something like that?
We were talking before you came on about playing for a charity.
That still won't do it.
Pardon me?
I got to tell you, that won't do it if you play for a charity. I don't think that'll do it.
Competition. No, I agree, Phil. But I think we were talking, Phil, it's come time that you, and Frank had some good ideas, but if you're looking for competition in an all-star game, you're looking at the wrong game.
Yeah.
You should focus on what the players can do to raise money while they're there, have a good 2-day holiday, show up for the game on Tuesday night and do the best they can and leave town. In the meantime, they leave a big fat check.
Yep.
And they'll get a lot more out of it than us debating about how we can make it more competitive. Do you think they don't want to make it more competitive? Of course they do. You said your last game you didn't give a damn because they didn't care anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It got worse. You're right. But if you wanted to make it that kind of competitive, I remember when they did that. You know, the Americans or the NHL against the world or some stupid thing like that. Mm-hmm. I thought it was absolutely. In the beginning, it was okay, but then it got to a point where nobody cared about it.
Yeah.
But it's horrible. What I would do is if the NHL wants to put an all-star team together once a year and you become an all-star, it should be the NHL, and they pick a country. They play against Sweden or they play against the Czech team, right? That's an all-star game. And I think it kind of defeats the purpose of the word all-star, where you've picked a player who's played very well. It's like winning an Oscar. Once you win an Oscar, you're quoted and noted and respected as one of the premier filmmakers of the world, and everybody's got, that's a big accolade, and everybody wants to have you. For hockey, what does that mean?
Well, I'm going to tell you, Frankie, it means some money for some of these guys. About it. So what the hell's the use? I just don't like watching it. I cannot stand I don't mind the skills competition, but now they're starting to make that a joke.
Phil, everything you said, I said in the first hour. I watch the skills competition, but the game is painful.
Yeah, well, now though, they make a joke out of that fucking asshole Ovechkin.
Yeah.
I did it again, Bill.
Yeah. that was for you, Billy.
That wasn't me.
That was for you. I will say this, though. The All-Star Game, especially hockey and basketball, it seems to be a lot more about the sponsors. It seems to just be a way for the sponsors to hobnob with some athletes, with some celebrities.
100%.
That's what it's become. That's what it's become.
It's a party.
Yeah, well said, Phil. A party, exactly.
That's all it is, and it's to give the sponsors a chance to come there and meet the players and to be part of the festivities and all this other garbage. But if you wanted to have a hockey game,
no,
forget about it.
Well, you know what you can try, and we talked about this, Bill, I think, in an earlier show. With the KHL starting to flex its muscle and suggesting that they may be in a comparative base with the NHL, you should
a formidable competition
game. The best team in the KHL, whether it's the
No, the All-Star KHL plays the All-Star NHL. Once a year.
I would have both teams, Frank. I would bring, if the All-Star game is in Minnesota, the Wild would play St. Petersburg. And a one-off game, or find another way, 2 out of 3.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea, Billy.
So there's something to win. Mm-hmm. You develop a cup, whatever you want. Like
call it the All-Star Cup. That's the whole fucking point of this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I got to tell you, they've got bigger plans for that, and I think And Billy, I think you know it's the World Cup, and that would be. See, I'd like to see the winner of the KHL championship, the Gagarin Cup, play against the winner of the Stanley Cup.
See, I disagree with you. Like, you know what the NHL needs to do, Phil? They need to take a fucking page out of FIFA. And FIFA is the most incredible organized propaganda of any professional sport I've ever seen in my fucking life. So what I'm suggesting is, if you're an all-star for the NHL, which to me is the greatest league in the world, right? Play the all-stars of the KHL, play the all-stars, and you have an all-star cup every year. That legitimizes the word all-star, where I come from. I could be stupid, but I think it's an absolutely brilliant suggestion.
Frankie.
It still gets back, Frank, to the All-Star.
They won't do that because you're going to lose money. They are looking down the road to having this huge series. I don't know what the cup's going to be called, that you might play.
Yeah, but this is one of the prerequisites. This is one of the things that qualify you. Just like they play, you play the European Cup in FIFA. They have all these qualifying things, right? Getting to be able to qualify to play in the World NHL tournament or the World Hockey tournament, right? Because there is no criteria in hockey. The B countries or the C countries in the sport that are not competitive get the shit kicked out of them, and nobody goes to see the games.
Well, let me ask you, where do you play it?
I think that it should be a raffle. It should be a lottery.
No, because you think sponsors are going to go in the middle of winter.
I think it should be a lottery. I think the countries should go into the lottery that are up for this and do it properly.
Yeah.
Do it with a computer, so there's no bias, there's no bullshit, there's always a way to manipulate, because that's the way people are. They're fucking manipulating pricks. But
I'm going to tell you, I really believe that what's going to happen, it may not happen next year or even the year after that, but it's going to happen, where you're going to have an 8-game series like we did in '72, 4 games in Russia, 4 games in North America, of the Stanley Cup champion against the Gagarin Cup champion.
And the most important point there is that we like to win the Canada Cup playing on 200 by 85 ice surface. But I think, to be fair to the Europeans, we have to split the games like you just said.
Yeah.
Good you have to have half of them in Europe on European ice, 200 by 100, and the other half in Toronto, if that's where you want it, because the Leafs won't be involved.
But Phil, that should be part of the prestige of being an all-star, to play on that team, of what you just said. 4 games in North America and 4 games in whatever the country that's participating in this. But I think it should be, to be fair to all the countries that are contributing to building the strength and the energy and the propaganda around hockey, should be able to try to qualify, just to keep the competition at a high level, like FIFA tries to do. You should have to compete, and the holy grail is that the all-stars, the best all-stars, are the best all-stars of the different leagues, and emphasize the word league and not country, play against each other.
No,
leagues,
Frank,
not country.
Go ahead, Bill.
I don't think your idea is a bad one, but I can only tell you this, that if you're going to sell that type of competition, you have to sell nationality with it.
You can't, because then it fucks up. It kind of defeats the purpose of being in the league.
Well, no. I'm talking about making it like as close as you can get to World Cup type enthusiasm. It better be Canada and the United States.
I think it's got to be. I disagree. I think it's got to be the All Stars of the NHL for the All Stars of the KHL. The KHL's got Canadians on there. There's people that play in Russia that are Canadian, not Russian.
It's just like they do in golf with the Ryder Cup.
Right.
Yeah. I'm telling you this. I think you guys are onto something. I think we're all onto something. If you want to be an all-star, you need to represent your fucking league. The NHL, in my view, is the best league in the world. But there's, like Billy said, when you're number one, your next step is to drop because there's other people breathing down your neck. The KHL is beginning to be a legitimate league for great players. The premier league in Germany is becoming a legitimate place for good players. The Swedish Premier League. I think that if you're going to have an all-star, and this is Bettman is a smart guy. He sees the future. FIFA's done a great job rallying the different leagues in the world to play against each other. And Spain, Madrid, Spain, the Liga in Spain has a lot of Italian players playing in that league.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They have a lot of Brazilian players. My point is this. If you're going to have a fucking all-star of the NHL, an all-star of the KHL, an all-star of any of these leagues, it should be about the league and not the country.